Okay, so I'm going to show you guys kind of how this project works using my iPad, but I will also show it to you on paper on Monday. So this is kind of going to give you a feel for how this project works. And then on Monday, I'll demonstrate it with paper as well. And on Monday, you guys need to come pick up your supplies so that you can have your paint ready to go. And your printout if you are someone who needs their logo printed out. Otherwise, I actually have everyone's logos all ready to go. And I'm going to share them with you as we speak. Okay, so everyone should be getting a folder of all of the logos. I know the only one that was shared is Ava and Hadley. You guys both had the Fanta logo, so I put both your names on it. And essentially you guys are just going to download the image and then print it out. So let me show you how to download an image, just in case you don't know, from a Google Drive folder. So if I was doing, say, this logo, I would click on this little download button that comes up here at the top once I've selected the logo, and then download it. And then I would bring it up like this and print it out. So theoretically, if I did my job correctly, which hopefully I did, theoretically, you guys should each have a logo that is 5 inches by 5 inches if it's a square. And if it's a rectangle, it should be somewhere like in the 4 by 6 range, something like that. The reason for that is we're going to actually double the size of these. So you're going to start with it being about 5 by 5 or 4 by 6, and then you're going to double that size completely. So then it would be 10 by 10 or 8 by 12. Does that make sense? So that's the hard part of this project, is doubling it in size. The rest of it's pretty easy, but I do want to make sure I kind of explain how that works. And again, I'm going to demo it digitally today. It's not going to be perfect. I didn't think to print out a version of a logo to bring home with me, and I don't have anything. So we're going to kind of wing it for today a little bit, and then you'll see a little more formally what you're going to do on Monday. So if I were you and you could, I would try to print out my logo over the weekend to make life easier. So let me pull up Procreate. So I chose a logo for a makeup company that I like called Urban Decay. And I chose it because I liked the style of their logo. I thought it was super interesting. And I use something called a grid essentially to help me when I'm using Procreate on my iPad so that I can kind of tell like where things are in relation to each other. So let me get the right brush here. Okay. So the first thing I'm going to do when I get my photo, when you guys get your logo, is I'm going to grid my logo. I'm going to create a grid going across it in 1-inch increments. So using my ruler, I'm going to measure the logo itself, and most of yours are in some kind of a box. And I'm going to break it into 1-inch increments. Only bummer I have not found on the iPad is there's no way to do a ruler on here. So I have to kind of wing it for this one. But essentially, 4, 5, 6. We're just going to pretend that this is about 6 inches because it's 6 boxes. Okay. So what I would do is I would align. I would create a grid here going across my image. Did a bad job of that, sorry. Try that again. So like this, I'm creating a grid. And again, I'm going to show you guys kind of the more nitty-gritty on Monday. And just so you know, the reason I wear a part glove like this is because then the side of my hand doesn't accidentally activate my iPad, and I'm not like clicking on things with the side of my hand. Makes a big difference. I'm very new to using an iPad for art, but it's pretty fun. So for us, this would be 1 inch, right? That would be a 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So if those were each an inch, it's 6 inches wide. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It looks like it's 5 inches tall, or 5 increments tall. So I'm going to start by gridding 1 here, 2, okay. So then the way that I always do this, because I'm very OCD and this is just how it makes sense to me, is I go A, B, C, D, E on the side. And again, we know that this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. A, oh, nope, that's not A. B, D, E. So I know probably a lot of you guys haven't used an old school paper map, but when you use an old school paper map, like back when I started driving, we didn't have phones. So I had to use what was called a Thomas Brothers map. And I had this big honking 300-page map in the back of my car that was every single street in Southern California. And sorry, my cat is, thank you, Jackson, for scratching on your scratcher right at this moment while I'm trying to talk and it's super loud. Are you helping? Yeah, thanks. The downside to having a munchkin around while you're trying to work. So when you would go to a map, say I searched 2100 Park Avenue, I'd go to the back of the book, find Park Avenue Street, and then what streets it was in between. And then I'd flip to that page in the map and it would say next to it, F2. And that would tell me to go to row F, column 2. And if I went like this, then I'd find it in the middle. It's actually pretty fun. So we're going to think a little bit similarly when we do our gridding. So I almost always start here at A1. It just kind of helps me process the image as a whole, and it helps me understand what order do I need to do things in. So we'll do this in a different color. Now I have my size kind of all figured out here. So what I'm going to do is, before I move us on to the next step, I'm just going to make my life a little easier and get rid of my extra lines so I don't confuse myself. So when you guys do this, you won't have to do this part. It'll be much more obvious what you're doing. But for me, it's a little funky. So I'm going to how do I do this? I go share, JPEG, save image. If you've never gotten to use Procreate and you have an iPad, highly recommend giving it a shot. It's very fun. Okay, so now I have my small version, and I'm going to enlarge it and make it double the size. So I'm going to leave that up there and kind of decide this is the space I'm going to use. Okay. So then for my next grid, I'm going to double it in size. So if the first time around I did gridding of an inch increment, how big would each increment be if I'm doubling it? If I'm doubling it in size. Yeah, Alexa, Jacqueline, exactly. Each increment would be 2 inches. So it's going to look kind of weird. It's going to be like small, and then it's going to be huge, and it's going to be kind of confusing, but this is the most useful skill that I never learned. I never learned how to grid in school. I had to teach myself how to do it because I wanted to teach a lesson on it, because I'd seen other people do it and I was like, that's brilliant. Why on earth do I not do this? Oh, gee, because I don't know how. So I had to teach myself. Hopefully now you guys will all benefit from this. I've had some students who have continued on to use gridding as a major part of the way they do art. So I do think it's really, really beneficial. So let's see. I think that would be about double the size of what I had before. So I'm going to do the same kind of layout. So I know that I have, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3. Okay, cool. So I would start down here at the bottom, and I would draw my first line across the bottom of my area. Or I could do it completely wrong. Let's try this again. No, I'm not trying to erase, you stupid iPad. So if that's the bottom of my image, and I know that it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sections. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Same thing I did before. So I know that I have E, D, C, B, A, B, C, D, E. And then up top here, I have a little bit smaller space, but I can write my numbers again. So do we all kind of see where I'm going with this? That I'm going to double the size of my initial logo. This one is going to be this size. So the next thing I would want to do is draw in the other lines. And like I said, this will be a little bit different on paper, but this is the closest I can get you guys to it for right now. On Monday, I will go back over this again. So now I have the same size, and I'm going to start to enlarge my image. So if I start with A1, really all that's in A1 is like just this little edge of the logo. So it's going to take some sketching and some time to make this work. So if I look at A1, I kind of want to look at like, where does this come in? Comes in about, does it actually, or did I screw that up? Oh no, I'm getting confused because there's 2 different grids going on here. I apologize, you guys. So I would go about like this. And then if I go down, so I've done this one, if I go into this next one, this one, B1, I can see that this comes all the way to that edge. And I can see just the edge of it comes into this next square. We get something like that. And then I can look here. So now I've completed B and I'm starting to go into C. And all I'm seeing in C is just the edge of this letter. And then in D, I see the bottom of that point coming out. It's about here. And the edge of that. And I'm trying to make this as accurate as humanly possible. I am not skimping on anything. I do not want to see a crappy, somewhat circle-ish looking thing if it's meant to be a circle. That is not what I am asking for. I am asking for you to create as close to the real graphic as you can. You guys know me. I'm not usually the person who's like, everything has to be perfect. This is the one project where I want you to seriously try for perfection. And the only reason I say that is I'm giving you every possible tool to make this very, very doable. Okay? So if I look here, there's absolutely nothing in E for column 1. So I've got C done. I've started to get D. And I'm looking at where does that cross over and come to a point. So now I've got D. In A2, really all I have is that little tiny corner. That's pretty much it for A2. We like A2. A2 is nice and easy. A3 is even better. There ain't nothing there, right? We love that one. That one's awesome. So then we'll go, stop trying to erase iPad, into B2. And we can see that's where this curve comes down on the first part of the U. And then C2 is just the line. And then D2 is a little more intricate. We can see that curve. And then this coming up on a diagonal. And it connects into this next box. So then we've got 3 done. So we'll go on to 3B. And it looks like I missed one thing, that this starts to come out on that side. The one thing I'll tell you guys to pay attention to, if your logo has any letters, look at the letters and see like what comes to a point, what comes to a curve, what comes to sort of a squared off edge. You can see on this, what looks kind of like a fancy T, they come to squared edges actually. They don't come to true points. And then this just like barely skims the side there. So that's going to be super close. All the way down to D3. We can see that goes over. And then this side curves and then comes down straight. Like so. And then that comes down. And we have a little squared off edge there. So we've pretty much got this first part kind of squared away. And then if I look, so the first letter is a U, the second letter is a D for the brand Urban Decay. And So now I want to start in on the shape of the D. So we'll start with 4A. And in 4A, I see a curve comes through. And then in 5A, you see kind of, it looks like the crest of a wave. And then this, like, I think it's just barely on the line where that curves. And then down to 4B. You can see where that happens. And then 5B, well, in 5A, it kind of comes back across. And then in 5B, we've got a straight line there. And then we kind of see that starts to curve. And then we're gonna go, oh, okay, Jackson, you got stuff to say today? C4, hi, hello, kitty kitty. What you guys can't see is Jackson's sitting here going, hello, hello, pay attention to me. Sorry, dude, give me like, what, half an hour longer? And then mommy will hang out with you. Okay, so, hi. If I look at 4C, oh, all right. Sorry, you guys. Jackson apparently wanted to come say hi. I'm gonna say hi to everybody, Jack. You can say hi for 4 seconds, and then I guess I finish teaching. You can say hello. Hello. No? You want hugging? Okay. All right, child. Yes, you're very cute. I will pick you up later. Sorry. Now, some of you guys have teachers with children. I don't have a child. I have a fur child, and he is not as much work, but he still feels very needy, just like real children are. Okay, so back to where I was, 4C. So 4C is kind of funky because you see like the edge of this little curved thing, and you can see that it comes to about that point and then curves up and touches this next, I don't know, curve thingy. And then this comes down, and it does not touch the end of the U, but it kind of mimics the curve of it down here at the bottom of 4D. And again, that's coming to a square. It looks like it's coming to a point, but it's not. It's actually a square. And then we cross down into about 5. So sometimes I just make little dots like this to kind of see like, where's everything going? That goes over there. And I can see that it comes right up to this edge on D and then almost to that side. So I'll start the curve there. And this comes up almost all the way into B. Like so. So now I've got kind of the outline. And then, I don't know why I made this mark here. I think that was accidental, hopefully. This line's gonna come all the way down into 5D, it looks like, to about there. And then on an angle to about here. And then this connects to there, and wha-bam. So you can kind of see I'm reading the chat. Yes, 100% Vincent. That is literally Jackson's thought process, is him being like, I'm bored. Come play with me, Mom. All the dang time. It drives me absolutely crazy, but it's very cute. It's just kind of annoying. Okay, so you guys can see kind of where I went with this. I'm gonna do a quick trace over of this in black so it's a little bit easier to see what I'm doing. And then I will get rid of all of these extraneous marks. And then I will explain kind of the nitty-gritty of how this project works. Okay. I apologize that I keep turning this every which way. It is the only way to make it work on the iPad. Otherwise, you'll go crazy. Okay, so let me, there we go, turn that guy off. Now you can see a little more what I was attempting to accomplish all that time. I think it worked pretty darn well. So this is the same method that someone like a muralist might do to create their mural, which I had no idea. I always wondered how they did it. This is one way that they can do that. And obviously it makes their lives a lot easier. So they're not just having to freehand something up 20 feet up on a wall. So once you get your actual graphic done and you get your logo on there, you're going to divide it into fourths, like so, and like so. And then now we have 4 different color schemes ready to roll. Okay. So for example, if I wanted to do this top one in, let's say, I think I want to do like complementary colors, but like the tertiary complementary colors. So let me stop sharing for 2 seconds and show you guys what I mean. So if I go back to our slideshow that I showed you the other day, Okay, so you guys can see we have all these different colors here on the color wheel. And I'm thinking I want to do complementaries, meaning they're directly across from each other, but I don't want to do just like the primary and secondary, like violet and yellow and red and green, blue and orange. That's kind of boring. So I think what I'm going to do is red, orange, and blue, green. So I'm going to write this down for myself because otherwise I'm going to forget everything. Red, orange, and blue, green. That is for the top right side. And then I think I'm going to do this for my whole thing. I'm going to do complementaries for the whole project, but the fun part of this is I can still use those tints and shades of those colors, right? And I'm still doing the color scheme. So we'll do red and orange. I want to do the right bottom side. Where'd it go? Red, violet, and yellow, green. Top left, I want to do blue. I'm actually gonna do blue and orange. And then the left bottom, I'm gonna do blue, violet, and yellow, orange. Okay, so now I kind of know my plan. And then I'm gonna switch back to screen sharing on my iPad so you guys can see what I'm gonna do. I have been drawing and painting too much and my right wrist is angry at me. Okay, so now, and this is going to be the like really fast version of it, and you're going to kind of hate me right now for how quick and easy this is going to look. Promise it is still quite easy when you're actually doing the painting, but it's definitely not as fast as this is. If you're someone who has an iPad and you want to kind of like pre-plan yours, you can totally do it the same way I just did on the iPad. Trace your logo the way that I did and then break it into sections. You could even just do this on a piece of paper and just kind of pre-plan what you're going to do. So if this top corner is going to be red, orange, and blue, green, then I'm going to fill it in different ways using, here's my red, orange, and this is one assignment where I actually don't want you guys to trace this in Sharpie. I want it to be nice and clean looking with just the paints. And you know, I am normally all about the tracing in Sharpie because it makes everything look so nice and finished. But for this one, it's going to look nice and finished on its own. It doesn't need the Sharpie. So if you are currently sitting there thinking, wow, I wish I'd chosen a different logo, and you want to send me a new logo, dang it, I'm not sharing my screen. How did that not happen? That's weird. I had it set to do so. Sorry, you guys. I must not have clicked the right button. Sorry. Thank you, Alexa, for telling me. Let's try that again. Okay. So for this one, in this particular upper right section, I have kind of like one color that would go here, another color that's going to go here. And then I actually can mix one more and a little bit of another one just for that edge. So I usually just pick a section and get started. There's kind of no right or wrong way to do this. And I'm super trying to do this down and dirty quick so that I'm not taking up all of your life watching me demo, because it's not that fun. And then remember, you guys, if you have time this weekend, you may want to go get a couple other brushes, because otherwise it could be a little hard to get some of the areas with that one brush I gave you. Whoa, did not mean to do that. Didn't even know I could do that. I learn different things on the iPad pretty much daily because I kind of suck at it, but it's fun. Okay, so if that section is all that red-orange color, and then I want to do the blue-green for the background, and then just remember, you can do different tints and shades of your colors too, once you choose them. So remember, you have those black and white paints. And if you need more of your black or your white, I am happy to get you more. You just need to tell me before Monday, and I will give you more. Okay, so we got that area. And then for that little spot, I think I'm gonna do a light blue-green. And for that other one, I'm gonna do a lighter red-orange. Like that. So now I've got one section down. So that was my top right. And then I can keep going from there and keep adding in my next color schemes. So a red violet would be kind of like a purpley, like magenta-y kind of color. And then the one thing that I kind of immediately look at is I'm like, okay, this is a red here. Do I want to do another kind of warmish color attaching to that? Or do I want to switch it up and do the reverse and do the background of this one with that color, and then the inside with that yellow-green kind of a color? Like that. And then maybe I want to do like a dark green for there. And a really dark red violet for there. And then the top left is blue and orange. That's kind of similar actually, now that I'm thinking of it, to the other top one. So I think I'm going to change it to red and green. I'm just going to do not your typical reds and greens because I don't like to do things typically. Anyone else feel me on that one? I just like to do stuff differently. It's more fun. Otherwise, life is painfully boring. And what on earth is the point of that? So I think because this background on this side is the blue-green, I'm going to do the blue-green on the inside here. So I've got my green, and then I want to do like a pink for the background, because why the heck not? And I have one weird section that doesn't feel worth doing in any other color except for this. And then for my last one on the bottom here, I had blue, violet, and yellow orange. So I think I'm gonna do the yellow orange for the background. And then the blue violet, I guess that's a blue violet. Got a blue violet for the inside, and then I can do like a fun light blue violet for the inside there. And I'll probably just keep, again, like I did up here, this is such a small section that I think I'm just going to do it the same as the rest of the background because it's tiny and why not? So do we kind of understand this a little bit better now, maybe? Yeah, hopefully. Okay, I know everyone's like starving and starting to eat lunch. So we only have 1 minute left in class. Does anyone have any questions for me that you want to put in the chat at this point? If you've realized that you need to change your logo, or you don't want to do the logo that you did, or you need more black and white. Yes, if you need more black and white, send me a message now because I'm going to add that onto my list of colors. And then I think a couple of you maybe have still not put your colors in. I really can't help you if you don't put those in, you know, that's kind of a big issue. Okay, so Vincent, you need black and white. Anyone else need black and white and they don't think they put that into their colors? Because I am happy to give you some. Just put your name in the chat or say, yes, I need it in the chat. And hopefully that all makes sense. So just a reminder for this project, you're not going to have true black and white spaces ever on your painting. It's all about color. Okay, Ruby, I just got yours. Thank you. Black, white, purple, blue. And remember, you can always, if you realize you get partway through this project and you need to get more paint, I'm up on campus at least a couple days a week. I'm happy to get you more paint. It's not a hardship for me to do that by any means. So I want to make sure that you guys can be as successful as you can be in my class. That's my whole goal. So it's 1:30. Go eat some lunch. Have a wonderful weekend. See you Monday.